We have to talk about the most important story of the day.
Okay, which is?
That Laurentian strategically planned for insolvency, and the auditor's report is in, and the CCAA filing was no accident.
Ouch.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. This could be the biggest news about Laurentian and its financial hardships since the original announcement. All
right then. Well, let's dive right into this first story of the day. It is one that we've been having our finger on the pulse because both Zach and myself.
Yeah.
Zach is just currently, going through, ready to graduate.
Yep.
And I recently graduated not all that long ago, just this past summer. So not even a year yet. And we both went through this. Like we both went through this process as students at Laurentian.
Yep.
And we're currently on Laurentian's campus and community radio station. And so we feel a kinship to this story personally. And so what did the auditor, was it the Auditor General or who was the one that...
Ontario Auditor General.
Auditor General.
So this went all the way up to the province.
So they've been working on this report for quite some time, trying to extract the information from Laurentian.
Yeah, it's been over a year.
So it's been a long time in coming. So, so what is the verdict here?
Yeah, so I don't really know how to pronounce the last name, but we're going to go with Lysyk.
Lysyk sounds good to me.
So Bonnie Lysyk says she believes the data show that Laurentian did not have to file for creditor protection. The action was strategically planned by Laurentian.
Ouch.
And Laurentian chose to take steps to file for creditor protection February 1st, 2021. So what exactly does that mean? It means there were a lot of people hired by Laurentian, also many consultants hired, and we'll get to how much money was spent on just that, to strategically steer the school towards CCAA protection because there's like a financial benefit to it.
Yes.
It's almost like strategic planning for bankruptcy, right? So these assertions are among a 13-page preliminary report. So if I can, I'm going to read that today, and we can cover it more tomorrow.
13 pages?
That's really not that much.
I was going to say, that's not much for a report like this.
But it's a preliminary report.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to have all the information. But this is like breaking news, right? So I'm going to need, some time to go over it. But
I'll have to get our banner here. There we go.
So Laurentian continues to undergo court-supervised restructuring. It's included massive program and employee cuts, termination of ties with federated universities. Yet to come is a plan of arrangement in which Laurentian makes a play to pay off its creditors and finally exit this CCAA. Why is it AA but it's CC? I don't know. Never understood that.
I don't know.
CCAA. CCAA?
Maybe.
I don't know. Sounds like a sports organization.
From CAA?
Maybe. So the Auditor General was tasked with value for money audit by the Ontario Legislature's Standing Committee on Public Accounts. So every university in Canada is a public university.
Yep, correct. Yes.
So I don't know. Maybe it shouldn't be that way. This could be a good case for why not. Something as important as a university should not be a public thing. But you also might make the case that this is a reason for more government oversight. And this is, we're talking about a huge company. Like if Laurentian was a company, like just operating for profit, it's a not-for-profit, obviously. But if it was operating for profit, just think of the massive scale. Like it's got possibly billions in assets and endowments.
For sure. It's a huge undertaking.
And they strategically steered the ship towards failure.
Yes.
For self-benefit.
Yes. And we're going all the way. We're going headlong into
this. Let's hire $24 million of consultants and, industry professionals in debt restructuring.
Yep.
So that we can get the most out of this. That is pretty bad.
Now you let me know if this sounds similar, if I can make the comparison. So I once had a business, and I had an employee who told me that this is what he did. And he said, you know what? Credit card companies kept calling me saying I could get more credit, and so they're upping my limit.
Yeah.
And I started getting more credit cards, and so eventually I had 5 or 6 credit cards, and I was getting a limit of way more than I could ever have dreamed on my credit cards. And because, you know what, I got an idea. I could just party hardy for like
a few months
and just live high off the hog. So we went on trips. He ordered the most extravagant foods, went to the most expensive restaurants. He bought himself things he never would have been able to afford before, and he just went headlong right and just maxed everything out.
Yeah.
And then just said, yeah, I'm just going bankrupt.
I'm done.
Yeah, done.
Chapter 7.
And I was like, holy cow, you did that on purpose.
Of course.
Who in their right mind would look at that as an opportunity to just go, and live the life of royalty for like a month when you didn't do anything, like you didn't, you didn't earn any of that money or whatever. You don't even appreciate the value of it. Is this a similar situation to that?
Let me make an analogy here.
Okay.
So, Lysyk, I think we were saying it's pronounced, Lysyk, said that Laurentian proceeded with expansion projects without procedures in place requiring senior administrators to make a reasonable assessment of value and viability of the plans, or fully considering the risks associated with rapid growth and debt. We also found there was poor management of the university's financial affairs and operations exacerbating the situation. This would be like me making minimum wage, $30,000. I think it's about $30,000 a year pre-tax.
Yeah, it is.
Minimum
actually.
wage now?
Yeah, it is.
So it's really not too bad. Me making minimum wage, let's say I'm the financially irresponsible one, and my wife is the responsible one.
Yeah.
I go out and buy a new truck, not for any,
reason that you need
reason of benefit to me other than I just want it.
Yeah.
And I can say to my friends, look how great I'm doing because I own this new truck. Maybe I'll get a new job because I have a new truck. And everyone will think that I'm really successful.
There's millions of reasons why you may want that new truck, for sure.
And hiding it from my wife because she's the financial responsible one.
And she might say, why do you have a new truck?
Well, she's going to see the new truck.
Oh, okay.
But my explanation might be, oh, it's
I got a deal,
it's free,
lifetime.
or,
my friend gave it to me.
Yeah, it's a great deal. I had to take it. It's kind of like that trope of like, if my wife knew how much I spent on hunting equipment.
Oh, that's right, yes.
But she thinks she knows how much I spent on it.
And she's thinking, well, it saves at the grocery store. We don't have to buy meat because we're going to get it for free.
Yeah, like it's one of these situations where it's like hide the left from the right hand.
Yes, for sure.
And then imagine this imaginary scenario. My boss tells me, we're really going to have to cut back your hours.
Yeah.
So that's the COVID.
For sure, yeah.
Imagine this in the real world. This is what happens to Laurentian. COVID hits, your income reduces because student enrollment goes down.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I don't know, let's say you own a rental property in this imaginary scenario. Your rental property, a tenant refuses to pay rent. That's the tuition freeze. Also happens. So it happens at the same time. So
a little bit of a perfect storm when they weren't being fiscally responsible.
They already were making bad decisions.
That's what I mean. And they might have weathered the storm, possibly.
Maybe, but eventually it looks like they were going to reach a point where they couldn't afford it anymore.
This point came a lot sooner than they expected because of these other factors. But they seems like to me they were similar to my employee, where they almost made these decisions going, well, at least we'll have all these buildings. Because isn't one of the reasons for the bankruptcy or the insolvency because they had high capital expenditures?
So the truck in this imaginary scenario is the new buildings and new centers.
Exactly.
If you've been to Laurentian campus lately, it does not look the same. It's because they've spent a lot of money on making it beautiful, new, attractive. In hopes, I guess, for new students or international students to come to the school. I mean, this is finally confirmation of what I've believed for a long time.
So yeah, so on that note, you were saying before we went live that you did see this.
Well, I don't
coming
want to be, a
before.
Cassandra figure of, Cassandra
I don't, but you
from,
can.
I think is it Rome? I think it's Roman mythology.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Her curse was that she could see the future, but when she told people, no one believed her.
Yeah.
So she sometimes has like the crying eyes.
Oh, because she sees the future.
That's her
and
curse.
People aren't listening, and
No
then
one listens.
They go through hardships because of that. And then
I'm not saying I'm like that, but yeah, I'm not saying I'm like that. But when I started at Laurentian in 2018,
yeah,
I said this does not make any sense.
mm-hmm.
And they were building a new student center, which I estimated at about $20 million.
Okay.
I mean, enrollment was good, but it wasn't anything special.
Yeah.
The university is already massive.
Yep.
Most of the infrastructure at the university was made 50 years ago,
Yep.
which means, in real
They need
estate
upgrades
investment,
and
you call that
things.
capex. That
Yeah.
means buildings usually get more expensive as time goes on,
Yes.
not less. So you can't look at a building you already own and say, well, that's, I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Exactly.
It's like they get more expensive. So building
Mm-hmm.
new buildings, like for instance, the student center,
Yep.
that should raise a red flag because it's beautiful, it's nice, but there's no fiscal reason for it.
No.
Like there's no classes taught. Same with the Indigenous Relations Center. You've been there. It's
Yeah,
this
for
beautiful
sure.
new building,
Really nice.
a new wing of the building.
Beautiful.
No fiscal or fiscal reason for it. Like there are no classes taught in there.
It's not going to bring back return on investment.
No, it's a poor investment.
That's
well,
right.
you can make the argument that Indigenous relations are important as any other thing.
No.
That's
this
not
is
what
the
we're
thing.
saying.
Like, there's a lot of important things, but fiscally speaking and just being important, for other reasons are two different things. If you build something that then brings revenue in,
It's
you get
the revenue.
You get return on that investment. So you give the money out now, and then you'll get it back. Whereas if you build a statue or build, an edifice, that's what it was. It was basically an ode to look
how grand we are.
That's right, and look, we appreciate our culture around,
Which we do,
and Indigenous culture especially, which we do. However, fiscally, was that a fiscally?
You couldn't have repurposed another part of the
No.
university, of the 100,000 square feet of the university to be the Indigenous Relations Center.
Look at the School of
You
Architecture.
had to build a new one.
It's called the McEwen School of Architecture for a reason, right? They have a donor that basically, for that name recognition,
Yeah.
donates money to be able to have these legacy kind of initiatives, capital
It's a philanthropy.
projects. That's
Philanthropy
right.
thing.
And you went to another university in the United States.
I did, yeah.
And you saw there the library is named
Everything
after
is
somebody.
named after someone.
Something's named
Yeah.
after this particular prominent person in that state because they made those donations.
Well,
And so-
actually,
right?
I will make a slight correction there.
Okay.
Sometimes the donations are made on behalf of a famous person.
Oh, okay. By whatever. People
They're not necessarily
that are
like if
anonymous.
it's named the Kennedy Center. It's not
not
necessarily
from Kennedy.
Kennedy who
No,
made it. It's someone
in their name.
with
You're
money
right.
that
You're
said,
right.
"I want this to honor
Correct.
this person."
It's not
So,
always the person that it's named after. that's
Usually, it's
given
not
them.
actually
But either way,
But
it's been
anyways.
given from someone other than coming from
on behalf of.
from the organization itself. Right?
Exactly,
So
yeah.
they didn't have to put the money out. So Laurentian could have got somebody to sponsor one of these capital projects, right, and have their name
Should
on
have.
it, and then they wouldn't have had to pay for it. Correct.
In any case,
Yep.
I'm estimating making a $20 million new student center with
Mm-hmm.
almost no financial backing, just taking it out completely on the credit card,
Yep.
is very irresponsible. In 2018, I kind of looked at this questioningly. We already had a student center.
Okay.
Like it's like buying a brand new truck when you already have a truck,
That works.
and then telling your wife, "No, but it's a really great deal. I'm losing money if I don't buy this." It's it doesn't surprise me, but it's still terrible.
Yeah, this is the community we live in, and we want to be, many people have gone through Laurentian that live in this community, and so we're all basically joined together through that. We all have that in common. And
Can
so,
I make
yeah,
one more comment on
Sure
this?
can, and then for sure.
So Lysyk said that prior to the CCAA process, Laurentian suggested a significant cause of its financial decline was excessive faculty costs.
Without saying, yeah, maybe we built a few things we
But
shouldn't
that
have.
turned out not to be true.
No.
So the Auditor General is saying that they're not that much above other universities. The faculty costs weren't actually that much higher than other universities.
So that wasn't the
This
reason.
was a red herring.
Yeah.
In contrast, senior management and administrator expenses
We're way over
the
national average.
and did negatively impact the financial situation.
Yes. So it wasn't the faculty, it was the administration and management level, like the higher up levels that were heavier on the financial aspect of things. They were paid more than the national average. Like
they said she says between 2010 and 2020, senior administration costs grew about 75%.
Between what and what?
Between 2010 and 2020. So they nearly doubled the expense of administration and management, essentially bringing, sinking the ship on purpose to line themselves their own pockets.
Well,
sounds very terrible, and it is. So pay a consultant on how to file for insolvency the best possible way.
Correct.
Pay yourself the most possible as administrators. Hide as much as you can from senior levels and like board members. Half of your board quits or abdicates the same week. The Auditor General comes in and says, no, actually faculty is not the main cause for this. It's your capital projects and management and administration fees. And then still blame it on low enrollment and blame it on tuition freezes.
Yep.
You tell me if that adds up.
Now, so we're going to have to deal with the fallout of this, and how do we now, is there accountability? Like, who is accountable for this particular fall for Laurentian University? Are there going to be people, or, is the board going to be accountable? Or
I don't think so.
The previous president, is that going to come into the talk of anything? The current president?
I seriously doubt it.
Nobody's going to be accountable?
I don't think so.
Nothing is going to happen?
The buildings aren't going anywhere.
Interesting, eh?
I think Laurentian's going to get closer to going even, and this is all going to be behind us.
And maybe that was all part of the plan.
Maybe that was all part of the plan.
They're gonna take a black eye. In the meantime, why don't we make as much money as we can? Why don't we hire
that money's already gone?
Administrative people as we can.
That.
We'll yeah, exactly. And then we'll
refinance,
just redo
look to
everything,
the future.
reboot, and yeah.
It's sad to say, but this could have been the plan.
I was gonna say
it went smashingly.
Yeah. And I'm sure
so far it's going well.
And I'm sure no one wants to admit that. No one wants to say, well, yeah, that's true. That's what we did. So we're not going to be, because if I admit it, now people are going to ask for accountability from it. So the more I just say, well, you know what? I wasn't really part of that decision. It happened, but I guess I was away that day when they voted on that.